Joining me now, I have NewsNation contributor Chris Cillizza, host of So What with Chris Cillizza on YouTube. Chris, I've been following your feeds quite closely on this one. I know in your podcast you argue that the Trump administration officials, their cover-up of this breach only made a bad story worse. To you, what's been the most shocking part of this whole ordeal?
Well, the accidental adding of a journalist to a national security chain is, I have friends. My older son plays soccer, and I was at his practice last night, and I have friends who know what I do for a living, dads on the team, and they were like, "Has that ever happened to you?" I was like, no, I don't get added to those chains. Like, so that in and of itself is remarkable, Markie. But I will say, to me, the fundamental question here, right, is how did Mike Waltz add Jeffrey Goldberg? Like, it doesn't. He said in an interview with Laura Ingraham, Mike Waltz said in an interview with Laura Ingraham, I don't know, it might have gotten his words sucked in. I was like, well, that's not how any of this works. He's given multiple explanations. I mean, I think the honest explanation is he probably knew Goldberg. He had been a congressman from Florida before. He probably knew him. But it's like, he's not going to say that because Donald Trump hates the Atlantic, and he hates Jeff Goldberg in particular before any of this. And Mike Waltz having a relationship with Jeff Goldberg is the thing that would probably get him fired in Donald Trump's mind, Markie. So It's like he can't answer the question that's like right at the center of it and seems to me to be an obvious answer.
And, President Trump on Wednesday, he keeps arguing there was no harm done because the Houthi strikes were unbelievably successful. Is it too late for the White House to now reshift the focus or even kind of fully come clean on this? I mean, day 4 of this story.
Yeah.
What should response look like at this point?
Well, I mean, look, my view of politics, right? It's not just my view. I think it's a general view of politics. It's kind of like life, Markie. There are things that come along that are bad stories for you. This is a bad story for the Trump administration. Accidentally adding a reporter to a national security signal chain, which probably shouldn't exist anyway, right? They should not be doing this via signal. But regardless, adding a reporter to that is a bad story. There's no way that story is going to be a good story. What do you do when bad stories come around? Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. You say, we made a mistake. Luckily, it didn't. There was no material harm done by the mistake, but it's a mistake. We can't have this happen. It won't happen again. And you move on and you start talking about how the price of eggs is down, right?
And you wait for the next headline. Do you think we're going to get that from Hegseth ever? I keep waiting for him to kind of change tune. No.
Because I think everybody in Trump's administration sort of channels Trump, Markie, because that's the way to stay in Trump's good graces. And Trump's view is never back down, right? We know that. Never back down. And always be on offense. Hegseth is sort of, he's poking the bear. I mean, I don't think that the Atlantic would have released the full text of this signal chain because they didn't initially, right? In the initial story, they held some stuff back, but Hegseth effectively dared them to say, well, there's nothing really in there. It's all overblown. And now you've fueled the story for at least another day. And by the way, Pete Hegseth, look, I'm no military national security expert, but I will say if you read that chain and there's stuff in there that says like F-18s are leaving at this time, Reaper drones are leaving at this time, we should feel the effects, Yemen should feel the effects at this time. Like, if that information had been out 3 hours before it happened, I'm pretty sure the Trump administration would be rightly pissed off. So the fact that it was in a signal
or if Goldberg
chain,
had tweeted it, after getting his hands on it.
I don't want to get into is it the war plan? Is it an attack plan? I think that's semantics. I don't get the Pete Hegseth approach other than it's an audience of one, and he's sort of performing for Donald Trump, who does not like to give in on anything.
And thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.